Hey guys, it's Anthony Bandiero here with one of the latest Blue to Gold instructors. Zachy, introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Zachy from Ohio, police officer. Great to be here.
Yep. So we are actually in Irving, Texas, and behind us we're actually having a really great class in our Irving Archives and Museum. So it's a great classroom, great facilities, and thank you guys for Irving Police Department for hosting this class. We're here for all 5 days delivering the search and seizure instructor class. So let's get down to business. An officer in South Dakota says, do officers need consent? Well, actually, what the question is there an advantage for asking for consent to search a vehicle even if you have probable cause? The officer says, I have seen it become a practice for some officers to ask a driver for consent to search their motor vehicle even when the officer has PC and a recognized exception. For example, the officer makes a traffic stop for speeding. The officer establishes probable cause that there is narcotics, drugs, marijuana, fill in the blank type of stuff in plain view in the vehicle. The officer will ask the driver for consent to search the vehicle as a matter of practice, even though the officer has established probable cause, right? And a recognized exception. Now, when the consent is denied, the officer will do it anyway. Is there case law on this practice? Why are officers doing it? And so forth. So let me share with you what's going on, okay? This is a practice that a lot of lawyers teach cops, and there is good reason for it. Now, I understand that it seems kind of a credibility issue when you're asking for consent when you also have probable cause. Sometimes you'll be on the stand and a defense attorney will say, well, officer, if you had probable cause, why are you wasting time with consent? And here's the answer. Asking for consent does these following things. Number one, it gives you another reason to search. I like when my officers have multiple reasons to search a vehicle. Probable cause, maybe sometimes abandonment, and then on top of consent. I like multiple reasons. That also goes along with another reason. Consent to search is easier to articulate than probable cause. So imagine a prosecutor is trying to get evidence in at a suppression hearing. He or she, if you have consent, simply is probably gonna go after the consent. Your Honor, my officer got consent to search. It was free and voluntary, no scope issues, end of story. That's why we got the evidence. And if the judge believes it, then it's end of story. Probable cause, just so you know, in my opinion, is harder to articulate than consent. Consent is very simple, free and voluntary. Did they have a choice in the matter? That type of stuff. But probable cause is open to a lot of interpretation and a lot of personal viewpoints. Consent is a lot more simple. So there's reason number two. Reason number three is that sometimes consent can give you a broader scope of search. A classic example is open container. Fine, you see open container and you can search that car for open container, but where can you search? Probably just the passenger compartment. You're not getting into the trunk. You're not getting into the engine compartment, right? You're not getting into places that are small enough to hold drugs but not alcohol. So what about the scope? Generally speaking, consent searches, the way we teach it, gives you a very broad authority to search that car. And the final one is, and I hope this is not true for you, but sometimes it is true, consent searches can fix bad stops. The officer made a mistake. He thought there was a violation, but there was no violation. The courts watch the body cam, and they say, hey, look, under these facts, there is no probable cause, no reasonable suspicion. So officer, you made a bad stop. However, and then you found the plain view evidence. However, during the stop, the officer asked for consent. You can't save with PC, because that's fruit of the poisonous tree. But you can save that stop in the evidence with something called the attenuation doctrine. The attenuation doctrine, in a nutshell, says that if something comes out of left field and fixes the taint, like consent, we can probably save the evidence. Now, before I leave you, I do want you to know that for the cops out there that are like, I don't get it, why are they doing it? I understand where you're coming from, because there is a credibility issue for some lawyers. However, the way I teach it, the cops need to have confidence in what they're doing. If they are asked on the stand why you did it, the cop needs to be like, because I went to a training class, Blue to Gold, They talked about the advantages of consent. This is why I did it, and that's why I'm not, I have probable cause, but there are also advantages. And say it with a straight face, say it with confidence. It's a legal technique. Also, you may be surprised that the California DOJ has a field manual for search and seizure, also recommends trying to get consent despite having probable cause. So, to answer my officer's question, it's an excellent question. It is one of those things which can cause confusion, but you know my answer on it, and it has a lot of advantages. All right? All right. If you like what we're doing, right, we're traveling the country, training cops how to make good case law. Join us on YouTube, subscribe, hit the like button, share with your friends. If you have a question for me, go to bluetogold.com, all right? All right.